Hi, today I have Scott Lum as my guest on PR Meets Marketing interview. Hi, Scott, how are you?
Very good. Hi, Cece. Nice to be here.
So, Scott, can you give us a quick introduction of who you are and what you do?
I'm a former Microsoft marketing manager. I did content marketing. Prior to that, I was working on the webcast program where we actually produced upwards of 600 podcasts, 600 webcasts per year, and over 1,000 podcasts. And we also managed their social marketing programs.
Wow, that's really a big chore. Can you give us a little bit of an example of your content marketing approach to manage that much content?
So, um, First, let's start with what is content marketing. Content marketing is a strategic marketing approach where we use content to create value for our customers so that they want to share it with their friends, and so that if hopefully down the road we'll be able to monetize it and create revenue from it. So what we did was, I guess the best way to start is to give you an idea of the journey that we took. When I first started doing content marketing several years ago, the term had just come out, and we weren't, they didn't have a lot of the templates that you see now and a lot of the great strategies. So we were just kind of feeling it out. So when we created it, we took a look at what were some of the big companies from both from a B2B perspective and B2C perspective, and came up with a strategy of creating great thought leadership content that will attract people to our content, and so that they would share it out with their friends. And in the process, we weren't sure when we first started it what was going to be our main things that we're going to measure. The first thing that we settled in on was, okay, well, we want to make sure our content is shareable. So the more shareable our content, the better it is. And we focused on the growth of our social channels. So if we share it out through social, and people are coming to our channels, we knew that we were doing the right things. But as time went on, the marketing tools started to become a lot more mature. So things such as marketing automation came out, and things like uh, the paid social became a lot more mature, and there's a lot more marketing technology out there. The analytics tools became a lot better, and as those we added those things to our content marketing efforts, we were actually able to track our content marketing efforts a lot better than we had when we first started off, and actually show how this content marketing leads to revenue.
I mean, I love what you're saying. I think we definitely have hit the point in content marketing where it should be tangible and show the results. You mentioned social media. So you mentioned that you wanted to make the content shareable and demonstrate that type of result. How did you start bringing in social media as part of that larger content marketing strategy then?
So social media is actually a very critical component for a lot of the distribution. One of the things that one of the things that we talk about is fish where the fish are. If the customers are engaging with their friends and with other brands on social media, that's where you need to be. So we continue to do a lot of our other traditional marketing, but because there's such a big focus on social media, it's actually really important that we be there as well. And I can see that there's a lot of different ways that you can approach social media. So there's some groups that do it much like you would a traditional marketing engine, where you do traditional promotion and advertising, and then push it out through those channels. Well, a lot of customers are not interested in that kind of thing. So what they want to do, so what we want to do is develop a channel so that we're able to nurture our customers and our prospective customers, and engage with them in a really fun and valuable way for them. And so what we do is we created a listening center to make sure that we listen to our customers. We want to make sure that we engage with them as necessary, provide a way to support them. So if they have questions about some of our products or what our products do, be able to have a channel for that. We also want to make sure that we nurture them after the sale. So make sure that we continue to create great content that we push out through those channels so that they can see, to make better use out of the things that they're doing. In the software industry, a lot of times the customers don't make full use out of all the technology that they purchased. So by creating great content to show them how they can maximize their dollar, that becomes valuable for them. Or to create content that has nothing to do with our product, but is interesting for the things that they care about, that becomes very important. And so be able to push those things out through social becomes very important. But the challenge is who's going to own that? So is marketing going to own that and to drive revenue? Is PR going to drive that because they are out there promoting the company, or is support going to own it? So I think a lot of companies are going to have to weigh that. My thinking is in the future, Forrester talks about the development of the chief customer officer. So someone that extends across all those different groups. And there's a new field that is becoming very popular now called customer experience. Mm-hmm. And the chief customer officer, or even if you don't call it that, if it's the customer advocate, that person or that group of people will transcend all of those different groups, and they'll look at the customer journey and all the touch points that the company has with the customer, and they will manage all the communications, whether it be through social, whether it's the product experience, whether it's the whatever communications that they do with marketing and advertising and all that. So we'll see social become just one of the channels that we'll be using to connect with our customers.
That's really interesting and actually it's quite exciting. If you were to take a step back, you've done a lot, you've seen a lot. Would there be one thing that you wish you can go back in time and change today? And why? What would that be?
Well, I think one of the most important things is that because a lot of things that we're looking at that's changing marketing, things such as digital marketing, social engagement, content marketing, all of those things are very disruptive compared to what we had in the past. So a lot of marketing had traditionally been very disruptive. It's very interruptive, where we interrupt the customer and we determine what the brand was up front, and then we advertise and we interrupt their consuming of TV or reading the newspaper or whatever. So we're changing the way things that we engage with the customer, not only because the technology is changing, but also because the way that the customer consumes their perceptions are changing. So we need, as a company, we need to change as well. Well, the change is not easy. And one of the things that we always say is make sure whenever you have a great project or great program that you get executive support. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I think is it's even more important than that is that you get executive support, but then you change the culture to support those changes that you want. Yeah. So if you go in and you make a proposal and you get an executive on board, but if you don't change the culture, like the way you measure success, it's very difficult to maintain that, through its ups and downs. So one of the big changes that we're going to see through customer experience is having companies take a more customer-centric approach. Well, a lot of companies say they're customer-centric, but if you don't change how you measure it, if you continue to measure your success by how much revenue you have and how many new customers you're bringing in, if those are your main success metrics, as opposed to looking at the lifetime value of customers or what are your renewal rates for your programs? If you don't change those metrics, it's going to be very difficult for you to maintain the innovation and maintain those changes that you want to make with this disruptive technologies. And that way, then what will happen is a lot of times when you do have um, uh, stress or you have budget cuts or things like that, it's very easy to fall back with what you had done traditionally, which is, the old style traditional marketing, which is very product centric as opposed to customer centric.
That's a really great insight. So I would love for you to share your insight for anyone who's wanting to get into marketing. What's the one tip you would give to somebody who came to you and say, "Hey, Scott, I want to get into marketing. What should I do?"
So I think, one of the things that I look at is what is going to be the future of marketing. And if you look at what happened in the last 10 years, with digital marketing and the growth of the internet, and then even more specifically within the last 5 years with the growth of content marketing and the discussions of customer experience and these new technologies that are coming out that will support us in engaging customers in new ways. I think there's no better time to be in marketing than ever before. And I think one of the, even more importantly, is we'll start to look at how we engage with our customers in such a way that what we call marketing is going to look completely different. And so if you were new to marketing, if I was coming out and graduating from college, I would say I would take a look at the breadth of what we can do from an engagement perspective and how the future is going to change, and you'll be able to embrace any of these different areas. So if you're an analytical type person, I mean, one of the biggest areas for customer engagement will be taking the data that is coming in through the company, whether it be through social, whether it be through Internet of Things, and be able to analyze that so that you can optimize your customer experiences and create more personal experiences. That would be fantastic. If you are a psychology person, being able to understand what makes customers buy is going to be very important, or what will make customers want to engage with you. Those things have not been traditionally looked at as marketing type tools, but become even more important in the future. If you're a designer, things such as creating user experience user experiences, or creating design at all the different touch points, is going to be very important as a designer. And it's not just going to be a two-dimensional, where they're designing things as they have in the past. We'll look at design from, across the entire company, and every single touch point. How do we optimize to make sure that the customer experience is optimal? If you're into the technology field, things such as the Internet of Things, be able to give feedback, back to the company that's built into your products, or machine learning, or 3D printing, all these different technologies that are coming down the road. Those may not be seen as marketing, but by feeding that information back into the company, we'll be able to create better products. We'll be able to create more personalized experiences. We'll be able to create better experiences for the customer, and it will transcend what we currently call marketing. And I think creating those experiences are going to be, the companies that embrace it and become really truly customer centric, those are the companies that I believe are going to be more successful in the future.
Well, thank you, Scott. That's all the time we have. I really appreciate you coming on to the show and sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks, Cece. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.